Hey, this is Doug Denny. I'm the host of Real Talk About Jobs, and today in this short video I'm going to walk you through using Indeed.com to search for jobs and get a little bit of a feel for what different job titles look like when you use a search engine such as Indeed. Just a reminder, the target audience for this is not experienced professionals, but rather high school students who are trying to get their arms around what different jobs are available out on the market and what they entail, or college students that are trying to prepare yourselves for when you graduate and you get out on the job market, or even early career folks who just started a job straight out of college and you're still trying to figure out how to plan your career. So again, this is not for experienced professionals, but for people early on in the starting point of their career. And so Indeed.com to me is really like the Google of job search engines. So if you are looking for a specific type of job that you don't know what's available out in your local geography or in a part of the country or world that you want to work in, this is a pretty good place to start, just to start doing some research. So I live in Austin, Texas, and so I'm going to go ahead and this was already populated for me. Thanks, browser. And then I'm going to say, let's say I want to be a software developer, right? And we'll talk about this in the show, but that's a pretty broad search term. But again, if you're early in your career, or if you haven't even begun your career, that's probably good enough. And you can start seeing, you get all these search results returned. And what Indeed allows you to do is take a look at your requirements, or what you think might be your requirements, and start applying filters to these search results. So let's say I'm really ambitious and I'm straight out of school, but I will take nothing less than $115,000 a year. I can go ahead and click a filter that says only show me things that pay this much money based on what we know about the company. And Indeed works with a lot of these employers, and they provide this criteria when they're listing the opportunity on Indeed. Some choose not to, but if they do, those filters are available for the different jobs. You can see there's different job types, right? If I'm most of you will probably be looking for something full-time, but maybe you're still in school and you want to narrow that down to an internship. You can. Now here's the thing. Note that this isn't perfect, obviously, because I don't think there's many internships out there that pay you $115,000 for your internship. So this is a very unlikely scenario. But again, what I want to show here is that you have this ability to sort of zero in and dial in your search based on certain criteria. Another way that you might want to do this is say, okay, I'm not just a software developer, but maybe I've got a certain skill set. So I am really good at the user experience side of things, but not so much back-end systems. So I'm going to type UX in here as well and really narrow down that search a bit, right? And let's take a look at a result. Whole Foods Market. That's a good Austin-based company. Let's see what they've got going on. So I'll click this. It's going to open up a new tab with more specifics. And in here, what you'll see is a very standard across all industries, standard across all types of work. It's what's called a job description, right? And usually in a job description, you get a little bit of copy, a few paragraphs here that tell you a bit about the role. And then it starts getting into core responsibilities that help you understand what's expected of you in the day-to-day role, right? What it is you're going to be working on. And these are going to vary from one posting to another, right? Some companies are much better at listing or giving the reader an idea of what they can expect out of the job. Some are really bad. Mileage may vary from company to company and role to role. And then, of course, we get into requirements, right? These are generally the hard requirements that the HR team is going to need to accept you, to have a discussion and maybe move you on to a phone interview. And if you don't meet these criteria, or at least the majority of them, you're probably not going to make the first resume screen from an HR recruiter that's helping find employees for the role. And we'll get into more of that in future episodes, but just at a bare minimum, usually you want to look pretty similar to what they're describing in the minimum requirements here. And then finally, this is very common too. They've got this ideal traits, skills, and experience where they say, okay, the best candidate, right? The best candidate will be someone who has all of these things, but then brings some or all of this to the table too. And again, having been a hiring manager in the past, someone who was out there actively looking for people to work on my teams, someone who met the minimum requirements and all of the ideal traits, skills, and experience, that's fairly uncommon, right? That doesn't happen every day. And then finally, let's say you really like what you see here. You can click to apply, and you can apply either directly on the Whole Foods site. I imagine if I click this, that's where it'll take me. Or you can apply through LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is a tool which we'll cover in another segment sometime, but roughly speaking, LinkedIn is a social network. It's like a Facebook for your professional life. And your LinkedIn profile really looks a lot like your resume, right? So just for fun, we'll go ahead and click apply and pretend like we want to and here you go. So what often happens when you get handed off from Indeed to an employer website is you usually have to create an account of some sort in the system that they use to collect applicants. So I'm not going to run through all of that, but you would fill this out, and it would start running you through a series of web forms where you would fill out information generally that looks like your experience and education, work history, all that type of stuff. But again, since this show is really geared for people who are just starting out in their career or students who are trying to plan for their career, let's do something a little different. Let's do software engineering intern. Just see what comes up in Austin, Texas here. And again, I've cleared all my filters, so I don't have any requirements here limiting my options. And you know what? Intel. That's a good company to intern at. I interned at Intel, and it was great. So let's take a look at what they've got. And again, what do we have here? I told you, industry standard, right? You have a job description. And because this is for interns, you'll see there's a lot less here that they're requiring of you. But what we're showing here is they want someone who's got some kind of technical background in their education, right? Looks like they're open to different types of degrees. They're not going to specify specifically, but they do want you to be somewhere in the engineering or computer sciences path. Makes sense. Look, preferred candidates will have experience with drones. Oh, this sounds cool. I might want to do this. But again, this is a job that is probably more suitable for someone who is at the end of coming up on the end of their degree program or has graduated and is now out there looking for work to build their practical work experience. So anyway, we'll get into more detail on these in future shows. I wanted to keep this one short for now, but go ahead and leave us comments or feedback. Let us know what else you want to see, and we'll be sure to make some more tours of different tools that folks use to find and research jobs. Thanks so much.